Hello again and welcome to another tutorial for Sure. In the previous tutorials we created a project. Inside the project we created a contract, and in the contract we added three sites. These three sites were coming from a sample budget that we also created that we split it in three different sections, which are called sites for Sure. And if you have problems to understand how this was created and why we created it this way, I recommend you to see the previous video in which we explained how it was done. But any of these sites, as well as the contract, it's basically empty, as you can see, because we have not uploaded still any of the contract budgets that we need. We go to contract budget, this link up here in the contract, we see that Sure tell us that the original budget for the contract is 0. That means we don't have anything, and there's warnings that are say that basically that the budgets that should be in the different sites are not uploaded yet. You can see that in this contract budget information screen, we already have the three sites, and well, they're actually waiting for us to upload the budget. How do we do this in Sure? Well, to do this is quite simple. You just go to the site that you want to upload the budget, click on it, and Sure will automatically detect that you have not uploaded any budget yet, and it will be asking you to actually enter the budget both ways, either using a wizard or enter the budget manually. To enter the budget manually, I would not really recommend it. You can always do it, of course, but you can make mistakes. Our budgets are quite long in most of the cases, and well, you don't really need to do that. There is a functionality in Sure that allows you to add a budget with a wizard. So in order to upload the budget with a wizard, all you need is to have your Excel sheet in which you can access the sheet that actually contains the budget for the site, and just include the columns that contain the information that Sure needs. I will explain that later on. But there is one thing that we need to consider first, and is how Sure is expecting the budget. There are different formats. I'm sure we all have worked with a lot of different formats for budgets, but they all have similarities and they all have something in common. They all have an items, which are the items that will be executed as works. They all have numbered those items, what in Sure it's called index number. Most of them have the unit of measurements, whether it is by piece, by lump sum, or by cubic meters, square meters, kilograms, etc. They all have a quantity for each of these items, and they have a unit rate. And they're multiplying the unit rate times the quantity, you get the total budget for each of the items. This is the format that is recommended for Sure. You can try other formats. You can try a lot of more different, more elaborated budgets, but doesn't really, it's not really needed. With these budgets, you can actually, these formats, you can actually upload the budget directly. Let's start by uploading this budget, which is called general items, to Sure. So I go back to Sure, just to show you. Let's see how we got here. We started with the project. We selected the contract. In the contract, we selected contract budget, and this is where Sure tells us that we have three sites, but we don't have any budget yet. So let's click on general items to upload. We have the screen to add the site budget. We will use the wizard, so let's continue and add the wizard. The first thing that Sure asks is select the Excel file with the budget for the site. So let's go and choose a file. In my case, my file is here. So I hit choose the file, and I select save. Now, as you can see, Sure has already accessed the file, and it asks us to select the sheet in which the site budget is. In this case, is general items. So we select general items and we continue. The next thing we need to do is to tell Sure in which columns on the Excel file can it find the information that is needed. The first information that Sure asks is to show where the element index numbers are. If you remember, we mentioned that the element index numbers are these numbers that are, giving a number to each of the elements, and they are in column A. So, well, column A, I don't have to do anything. Select the column Excel file with elements description in the main language. Okay, forget about main language and alternative language. I will explain this later because this is bilingual functionality that Sure has that will explain in another tutorial. Let's just select the elements description in main language. In this case, the description is in column B. So we just go to our Sure and put column B. I will not use the alternative language, so I select none, and they're asking for measurement engineering units. In this case, the measurement engineering units is this one, it's in column C, and then the quantities in this case are in column D, and finally the unit price or the rate, which are column E, if I remember correctly. Yep, E. So just continue. And in order for you to be sure that you are doing it correctly, Sure first, before producing any elements, etc., I just showed you how your budget would look like. And of course, you can go back if you see a mistake, but as you can see, we have the number, which is correct. They have the number up here. They have the descriptions. The descriptions are here. They have the unit of measurements. They have the quantities, and they have the unit price. As you can see, Sure has already selected all of them without you having to copy or paste or anything, just indicating the columns. This is one of my favorite functionalities for Sure. So let's click continue. And here Sure already show us in this table that if you compare to this one, is quite similar. It already show us what it has the understanding or what the understanding of Sure is for the budget. And it's asking us to select the rows in the table that corresponds to a construction group or chapter in the budget. Well, as you know, like if we go to this site number 2, in this site number 2, we have 1, 2, and 3 different chapters or construction groups, as Sure calls it. And each of these chapters includes different items. So Sure is asking in this case to select the chapters. In this case, we only have one, which is called general items. So I will select this row for general items and I will just click continue. And voila, here we have the budgets. We have created a budget to Sure directly and we have added it. Now, notice that since you didn't have any previous budget, Sure already assumed that this budget is your original budget, and it has assigned this original budget to the site. We go to our contract, phase 1. You see that the contract budget already say, okay, it's an original budget for the contract. There is a contract budget here for the different sites. If we go to general items, you see that they already have in here some information starts to appear. They call you about, of course, you don't have disbursement, but the budget here is filled up, etc. We go to the site budget and we have the same thing. Now, sometimes there are lines that are included that should not be included. So we always recommend you to take a look with the critical eyes before you accept the budget. And in this case, and you see Sure has detected there is an element which has not assigned to any group. And if we go here, you see it's a very weird element that it has like description 4, units 5. Well, this is coming from this line here. You see there's a line here that has this description number 3, units, quantity, rate. This happens because Sure reads your Excel file and detects items by quantities and unit rates. So if you have a quantity and a unit rate, Sure will assume that this is an item to be included. But since it doesn't have budgets, it doesn't have an index number, sorry, and since it is not included anywhere, it just creates their own construction group, by that their own, its own chapter, and adds it to it. Of course, this is useless. This is a mistake. So we just click on the element and we just go ahead and delete it. Good. So now we have our SAR budget, which is 7,948 US dollars, 70,000, sorry. If we go here, we have 7,948 US dollars, and you can see it's the same. So everything is correct, everything has worked. And now we have our first budget in the contract from here, and you can see that general items already have the construction group general items, and it's already included. This is all I want to do today. In the next videos, I will show you how to use this wizard for the other two sites, but we will also use some of the other configuration features that allow us to include lines from the budget, that allow us to create some indications in the files. So the budgets, when we see the budgets, they can be understood in a better way. So hope you enjoy it, and I hope I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.